What's going on, everybody? With the Raw and Smackdown draft on the horizon, I want to make my own mock drafts for both nights 1 and night 2, which we're going to cover in this video. Real quick, salute to the channel members. Today, as of you are watching this, Thursday, April 25th, I am going to be doing 2 live streams, one specifically for channel members, but we're going to be doing a live draft of Raw and Smackdown with the MVPs. And right after that, I'm going to be streaming the NFL draft. And that right there is going to be for channel members only. Respect to the channel members that we have. Here's a list of them. And now let's get into introducing this thing. So WWE is going to be holding the draft on Friday night, starting Friday night, in which it's going to be 4 rounds, 2 picks each round. And that's just for Friday. So that means that Raw and SmackDown is going to have 2 picks per round, equaling out to 8 picks total between both brands. All of the champions are protected. So on Raw, we're going to have Damian Priest, Becky Lynch, Awesome Truth, and Sami Zayn. And on SmackDown, we're going to have Cody Rhodes, Bayley, A-Town Down Under, and Logan Paul. The women's tag team champions is going to be a floating title. So Kairi Sane and Asuka can be drafted. On Friday, SmackDown's going to have the first pick, and on Monday, Raw will have the first pick. And then the rosters are going to go into the effect after Backlash in France. Those are the rules. Each night will have different draft pools, and from the looks of the list, it seems as though factions are protected. So, for example, Friday's draft pool factions, they're going to have Alpha Academy, they're going to have the Bloodline and the OC. They don't have them split up, so I'm not going to split them up. Same thing with Monday. Tag teams are together. Then you have factions like the Creed Brothers, Damage Control, Final Testament, Imperium, Judgment Day, Legado del Fantasma, LWO, and the Pride. Look, if they got them all together, I'm going to have them all together. And that's going to be a bit of a problem when it comes to somebody like Damage Control. Also eligible to be drafted will be the NXT wrestlers. And you'll see as I do my list, I'm trying to put some respect on the NXT wrestlers. And I'm going to slot some of them a little bit high and in the middle of the draft. Because I feel as though if you want these guys to get over, you got to present them pretty high. That way they'll stand out and you have to put attention on them. I also want to keep respect to relationships. So people like Naomi and Jimmy Uso, I'm going to try to keep them on the same brand. Bianca and Montez Ford relationship, going to try to keep them on the same brand. Charlotte and Andrade, I feel like they're going to go on the same brand. So I'm just going to try to keep respect to the relationships as I do this draft. And without further ado, well, let's talk about the draft. Quick little side note, once we go through the draft, we're going to go both brands round by round. Then we're going to go into the brands and how these draft picks are going to be organized by way of main title, women's title, mid-card title, and tag teams. And we're also going to break those factions down into where I think they should belong. Okay, now we're going to get to the draft. So with the first pick of the draft on SmackDown, I think this should be quite easy. We're going to go with the Bloodline. And the Bloodline's got quite a few members. We got Roman, we got Jay. No, not Jay. We got Roman, we got Jimmy, we got Solo, Tama, we got Paul Heyman, and I also believe that Jacob Fatu will be joining, and that's about 5-6 different players all in one pick. It's pretty heavy. But picking for night 1 on Raw, I'm going to start them off with Seth Monday Night Rollins. Hey, look, if you see how the list breaks down, I mean, you got to kind of go with Seth Rollins. Second pick for SmackDown, I'm going to go with Bianca Belair, which means we're going to be putting the Pride over on SmackDown. But we got to go with Bianca. She is the top woman on night 1 that's going to be drafted. So we can slot her right over to SmackDown. If you look at the list, we got to take Bianca number 2 because I think that she provides a little more value than most of the other guys that are left. Round 2 for Raw, I'm going Braun Breaker. I'm strapping a rocket to his back. People are going to have to take notice. I'm going Braun Breaker early. Number 3 for SmackDown, I'm going to go with Jey Uso. Now, in storyline, that should piss him off, but it should also put him in line to help out Roman when it comes to the Bloodline Civil War. They're all going to be on the same brand, and that's going to work out. Now, I'm sure that they're going to go with the Jey Uso trying to stand alone on its own for a while, but when push comes to shove, he'll be happy to be back with the Bloodline, at least for the duration of the year, and then probably the following year they're going to jump back into the tag team. Round 3 for Raw, we got Randy Orton. Round 4 for SmackDown, we got AJ Styles. Round 4 for Raw, we got Liv Morgan with their first woman pick. Round 5 for SmackDown, they're coming back with another woman's pick with Nia Jax. Now, should I be splitting up Nia and Liv? Probably not, but I got a feeling that Raw is going to get pretty heavy-handed when it comes to the women. So I'm going to put some good heel heat on the women's division with putting Nia on SmackDown. Pick number 5 is going to be Sheamus for Raw. The reason why I'm picking Sheamus for Raw is because of the IC title, him never having that title, and him being able to compete for that title. I'm going to leave him on Raw for now. Pick number 6 for SmackDown, we're going with Carmelo Hayes. Since we went really high on Braun Breaker for his NXT call-up, and he's already been called up, but he hasn't been really used yet, we're going to go with Carmelo Hayes, which should be a pretty high call-up for him, or a pretty high number for his call-up, with number 6, should put attention on him immediately. For Raw, pick number 6, we got the Alpha Academy, which means Chad Gable and the tag team of Tozawa and Otis, along with Maxine Dupree. Chad's going to be splitting from them. We don't have to worry about that for too long, but for now, we got the whole Alpha Academy. Pick number 7 for SmackDown is going to be Andrade. I mean, we're going to have a pretty nice mid-card over there on SmackDown. Pick number 7 for Raw, and this could have been interchangeable with either Sheamus or Randy Orton, but I just forgot about it. Yo, I swear to God, I don't do this on purpose. I don't do this on purpose. I forgot about him. But we got LA Knight. I forgot. I'm sorry. He could have went 3 or 5. Interchangeable. He's interchangeable. He's the same as the rest of them. But we got LA Knight. Number 8 for SmackDown, we are going with Lyra Valkyria because they're gonna need some depth on this SmackDown roster. And again, bringing attention to an NXT call-up, Lyra Valkyria being announced as a pick rather than just being a free agent and moseying her way into it. This should put some attention on her. And rounding out Raw for night 1, pick number 8, Mr. Irrelevant for night 1. We're going with Ricochet to help strengthen that mid-card on Raw. So to see how it shapes out, night 1, SmackDown, we have the Bloodline, Bianca Belair, Jey Uso, AJ Styles, Nia Jax, Carmelo Hayes, Andrade, and Lyra Valkyria. So we have assessed the top of the line. We got 3 of the women. We also have 1, 2, possibly we got 1, 2, possibly 3 in the mid card. And we don't have any tag teams on SmackDown as of yet, unless you jump into the Bloodline with Tama Tonga and Solo Sikoa. So, I mean, you got a tag team in there. Night 1 for Raw, we have Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker, Randy Orton, Liv Morgan. Randy Orton, Liv Morgan. Kind of rhymed. Almost thought I said the same thing. Sheamus, Alpha Academy, LA Knight, and Ricochet. So with that, we have 2 women, including Maxine Dupree. We have our main card with Seth Rollins, Randy Orton, and LA Knight. You'll see how this thing breaks down once we get to that part of the video. Alpha Academy is going to provide us a tag team, and looks pretty even. Well, it doesn't look even yet, but once we get to night 2, it's going to balance out, trust me. So night 2, we have 12 picks to go through. 12, right? And the first one was 16, 12, 24. We have 12 picks to go through, and we're going to be starting off with, for night 2, Raw gets the first pick, and I can't imagine them going with someone other than CM Punk. Just can't imagine it. Guy makes the big bucks. You gotta pick him first. It's either him or Drew, and I'm going to go with Punk. Night 2 for SmackDown, pick number 1, we're gonna go with Drew McIntyre. Now I get it. Trust me, I know. We got the feud. It's supposed to be CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. Both guys are hurt. CM Punk's a little more hurt, so we don't know how long it's going to be before they are going to be coming back, especially Punk. However, you can still get to that match. Plenty of ways that we can still get to that match. So I don't mind splitting them up. We can come back to that match for maybe Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, something else. I wouldn't mind coming back to that for a WrestleMania. We're going to come back to that sometime in the future. And then Seth and Punk, they can wrestle a whole bunch. So we can get back to Drew and Punk. We'll get there. Need not worry. Pick number 2 for Raw, Jade Cargill. Now, trust me, I know. Why would you go Jade Cargill? Why would you split up her and Bianca? I mean, you don't have to, because you do have Big Goon right there. But I imagine that since SmackDown has one of the very, very top talents, I would imagine that Raw is going to pick a Jade Cargill immediately. They have way too much investment for her to become a star, for her to not be picked at the very, very top. Now, granted, you could switch her and Imperium and get Goon over on Raw and Jade on SmackDown, but I think it'd kind of imbalance the women a little bit. I could be wrong. Trust me, I can be 100% wrong. But if I'm drafting, I'm picking Jade Cargill before I pick Big Goon. Sorry. Gotta have that big woman presence. And come on, Bailey. I mean, what's the girl name? Becky? Becky's not it. Pick number 2. We're gonna go with Imperium. So that is Goon and Ludwig Kaiser. Big Goon. Don't mind splitting him away from Raw, because he's already been there and done that with the IC title. Keep him far away from it. And now he can start building himself up into the main title contention with the big dogs. You got some big dogs over there. You know what? Now that I think about it, I really could switch Imperium with Jade Cargill. I really could. It'd make more sense. In hindsight, I would rather do that. I would switch them too, but for the sake of the video, we already got the graphics drawn up. I'm sticking to it. Next, we're going to go with pick number 3. For Raw is going to be Damage Control. See? Now they're getting a whole bunch of women. We out of Damage Control, we got Asuka, Kairi Sane, what's her name? Io Sky and Dakota Kai. Here we go rhyming again. That's a lot of women. That is a lot of depth for that Raw women's roster. Night 2. Now SmackDown got to catch up. We're going to go with Tiffany Stratton. Got to catch up. She's going to be a star, and I really don't want to split her away from the SmackDown roster. And it's because, I don't know, she looks better with them blue lights. I think them blue lights really help her stand out. Pick number 4, I am going with the Creeds. And the reason why I'm going with the Creeds so high is because I want to put attention on them. I want to put focus on them and focus on that tag team division. So they should be able to stand out with that and the eventual congregation with Chad Gable. Number 4 for SmackDown, we are going with the Catch Republic. Got to get some tag teams over there at some point. Number 5 for Raw, we're going with Kevin Owens, just to keep up with the meme of Kevin Owens always switching brands when it comes to these drafts. Number 5 over on SmackDown, we're going with New Day, out of respect. Number 6 for Raw, we're going with Judgment Day, so that's going to be JD McDonough, Prince Devitt, or what was his name, Finn Balor, and Dominic Mysterio. We're gonna stick with that right there. Plus, they got a little thing going on with Santos Escobar, so you see why we got that going on over there. Number 6 for SmackDown, we're gonna go with Naomi. You know, bloodlines there. Number 7, we're going with Bronson Reed, and it's because he really wants that IC title. So I'm going to keep him right there with the feud that he started with Sammy, and I don't mind keeping him there. Number 7 for SmackDown, we are going with the Pride, Bobby Lashley, Street Profits, and B-Fab. I don't know if B-Fab's ever going to wrestle on her own. Bobby Lashley needs to finally start, going for some top gold. And with it not being too heavy over there on, damn, I really should switch Imperium with Jade Cargill. Because CM Punk is going to be hurt. Seth might be out. Imperium. Goon is going to be needed over there. I'm fighting with myself. But again, for the sake of the graphic, I had to do what I had to do. Number 8 for Raw, we're going with Legado del Fantasma. Not that we're scraping the bottom of the barrel, but we got to beef up that tag team division and start beefing up some more of that mid card. Number 8 for SmackDown, we're going with the call-up of Ilya Dragunov. I think that that's a pretty good landing spot for him. Definitely helping out that mid card. And I think with the departure of Giovanni Vinci from Imperium might have their eye on Ilya. Number 9 for Raw, we're going with Tony D'Angelo, another call-up. Number 9 on SmackDown, we're going with DIY for reasons. Number 10, we're going with another call-up, and Dijak. It's no longer Donovan Divakovic. All right, we're going with Dijak. Number 10 on SmackDown, we are going with another call-up in Gallus. We're doing call-ups galore. So that's for the tag team division. Number 11 on Raw, we're going with the Final Testament. So we got Karrion Kross and AOP. Scarlett's never going to wrestle, so we need not worry about that. Number 11 on SmackDown, we are going with Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. Can't be mad at that. And that's also going to help out that women's division greatly. And number 12, we are going with Katana Chance and Kaden Carter, I think is their names. Anyway, I just felt as though we needed some more women color on Raw because Jade was like the only one. So that's that. And number 12, you take your own pick. We got LWO. It's a bunch of people in there. We got Nakamura. Sad that he's fallen so far. And Braun Strowman. It should be a W in his name. I kind of John Lude on that one. But Braun Strowman, maybe with a surprise return pick. I guess that'll help him stand out, right? Night 1, we got CM Punk for Raw. Jade Cargill, Damage Control, The Creeds, Kevin Owens, Judgment Day, Bronson Reed, Legado del Fantasma, Tony D'Angelo, Dijak, Final Testament, and Chance and Carter. And for Raw, Night 2, we have Drew McIntyre, Imperium. Yeah, if I take Imperium away from SmackDown, yeah, we're still pretty heavy over there. Fuck, I should have gave Imperium to Raw. Anyway, Tiffany Stratton, New Catch Republic, New Day, Naomi, The Pride, Ilya Dragunov, DIY, Gallus, Chelsea Green, Piper Niven, and take your pick between those last 3 people there. Here's how SmackDown looks by the round each night. And on paper, I'm not all that mad at it. Again, Imperium and Jade, I kind of, in hindsight, wish that I would have switched them, but we are where we are. And here's the Raw round by round for nights 1 and 2. Again, I like how this thing plays out, and you guys are going to see in full detail how it all plays out in the next coming slides. But again, putting Imperium here and taking Jade Cargill off, you're going to see how it's going to look on the next slide. I wish I would have did it. But it is what it is. Take a picture of it. There you go. Round by round. Nights 1 and 2 for Raw. So let's break down these rosters. On SmackDown, for the main title, we have Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, Drew McIntyre, Big Goon, Jey Uso, AJ Styles, and Bobby Lashley. Now, let's look at this. If we take away Goon, we have Cody, Roman, Drew, Jay, AJ, Bobby Lashley. Now, if we put Jay with Roman, which means we might have to slot him over in the tag teams, we'll have Cody, Roman, Drew, AJ, and Bobby Lashley. Without Goon and then moving Jay over, we got 3 top guys and a possible with Bobby Lashley. You see why I had to put Goon over here? It's really, really tough. Really, really tough. For the women, we have Bayley, Bianca, Nia Jax, Tiffany Stratton. That's pretty top heavy. Naomi, Lyra Valkyria, very top heavy over here. Chelsea Green and Piper Niven, and of course B-Fab. I like the way this women's roster lines up here. If we throw Jade in there, it's kind of overkill, unless we take Nia Jax and throw her over on Raw. You see how we would have to move parts around? I kind of like it like this. I'm not terribly against this. For the U.S. title, the mid-card guys, we're going to have Logan Paul, Ilya Dragunov, Carmelo Hayes, Andrade, Jacob Fatu when he gets there. And we got some stars over here that were some asterisks that we got here. But Nakamura, Braun Strowman, whichever one of them you pick 12th are going to go there. For the tag teams, we have champions A-Town Down Under, New Catch Republic, New Day, Gallus, Street Profits, DIY, The Bloodline. And the reason why I have Ciampa Gargano over here for the U.S. title is because I do believe that that DIY will be breaking up in the future. And if they do, that should be adding more depth to the U.S. title picture. And quite honestly, with the Bloodline being over there, DIY isn't all that necessary. I mean, they're necessary at the start, but they're not a team that's necessary to stay together. You know, and plus they're not doing all of that well as far as getting over. So probably better off splitting them, letting them be in that mid-card spot, and then eventually getting rid of them and sending them to AEW. For the Raw roster, here's how I have this one broken down. We have the main title, Damian Priest, CM Punk, Seth Rollins, Seth Monday Night Rollins, Randy Orton, Kevin Owens, LA Knight, and Finn Balor. I'm thinking about Seth Monday Night Rollins and Roman Reigns. But then again, the Bloodline arc is going to be at least for the whole year. So we probably won't get to Seth Monday Night Rollins versus Roman Reigns until next year. So that this roster right here lines up correctly, for me at least. For the women, we have Becky Lynch, Rhea Ripley. I see her staying there, coming back from injury. Jade Cargill, Liv Morgan, Io Sky. Look at how that lines up. That lines up pretty well. We have Ivy Nile, Dakota Kai, the Kabuki Warriors, and Carter and Chance. I mean, I guess you got to have the tag teams. I guess you have to. For the IC title, we have Sami Zayn, Braun Breaker, Sheamus, Big Bronson Reed, Chad Gable, Tony D'Angelo, Dijak, Ricochet, Karrion Kross, and Santos Escobar. That IC title is deep. It's a deep IC title picture. That's a deep mid card right there. That's a really deep mid card. Wow, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. The way I would do this IC title picture right here, Sami as champion, I would have Braun Breaker, Tony D'Angelo, Dijak, Karrion Kross not competing for the title, but all being in that mid-card fighting against each other just to make a name for themselves. Competing for the title, I would have Sheamus, Sami Zayn, Big Bronson Reed, Chad Gable, maybe Santos Escobar competing against each other. And then for the tag teams, we have the Awesome Truth, the Creeds, Judgment Day, Angel and Berto, AOP, and Otis and Tozawa. I mean, Otis and Tozawa ain't going to really be doing nothing. But, I mean, those are our tag teams. It's not really many tag teams. And, of course, you got some ways in which you could do some makeshift tag teams in here that I wouldn't be against. So it works out, I believe. I believe it works out pretty well. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I put a lot of time into putting this draft together and doing all the designs. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you haven't yet, please drop a like on the video, comment down below, give me your thoughts. I imagine there should be some pretty good thoughts after this one, or a pretty good interaction after this one. And for anyone who's not a channel member, we got some perks coming along the way, such as those live streams that you're not going to want to miss. Should be fun. All right, I've spoken enough. You can click on one of these videos right here before you leave. Adios.